Hey Falcon fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome to Atlanta Falcons news and rumor video here on a Monday. I want to jump into the cap situation. Really, more importantly, how the Falcons can free up some cap space in order to maybe go sign some more players. And as we'll see, there are 5 players, I think, who are very much on the cap cut bubble or cap cut candidates. We're going to go through 1 through 5 about who potentially the Falcons could let go. Again, to free up some much needed cap space in order to sign some much needed players to give this roster more talent than what it had back in 2021. So let's start with the 5,000, 10,000 foot view of the current Atlanta Falcons offseason situation. Most importantly, the money that they have. Right about now, they have about $12 million in cap space. Now, that can, of course, change with you restructuring deals or re-signing this player or not re-signing that player. But right now, it's at $12 million, which is fine, but it's not enough to go ahead and make any sort of big splashes in free agency. Hence why they might cut some players to get some more additional money in order to go ahead and sign some more free agents. Now, we know they have a ton of needs. They have a ton of positions that they need to go ahead and address. And while most of these will be filled in the NFL draft, you still could find maybe a defensive lineman in the open market, an offensive lineman, a wide receiver, a running back, a cornerback. Like, there are plenty of needs that can be filled in free agency. And so the ability to do that does hinge on how much money you have, hence why we're doing today's video. But some potential cut candidates to free up some money for the Atlanta Falcons. Like, here's the deal. Just because we give you 5 players on this list does not guarantee all 5 are going to be cut at some point this offseason. However, Atlanta will try to trim some fat. They will cut some players, and they might cut 2 of the players on this list. They might cut 4 of the players on this list. They might cut 1 of the players on this list, but I'm almost guaranteeing someone from this list is going to be let go. Now, they can't cut a ton of people because they don't have a lot of talent overall, and so getting rid of a guy for $1 million cap space savings doesn't really do them much. But, as I mentioned, they do need to free up some space. They will get rid of some players. We're going to get into 5 players they can potentially go ahead and cut by the start of the new league year, which is really just a couple of days away, being that it is Monday, March 7th on day of filming. We'll start with this. Name a player I think the Falcons will cut. Is there a player that you just think of right off the top of your head that the Falcons could cut? If there is one, let me know who that is down below right now. Okay, now we're going to go in no particular order here. I'm not going to go from, 0 to 1 or 1 to 5 or 5 to 1. It's going to give you 5 players, right? It'll start at number 5 and go to 1, but we're in no particular order. Starting with number 5 in Mike Davis. I think Mike Davis is guaranteed going to be cut, by the way. Like, I don't even have to tell you why, because you know how bad he was this past season. But I didn't realize how much money they could save if they cut Mike Davis this offseason. Like, you save about $2.5 million if you get rid of the free agent running back you signed last season to a 2-year deal who essentially did nothing. Like, you go back to 2021, what did Mike Davis really do well? I mean, he has terrible yards per carry. He barely got on the football field towards the end of the season. Only had 503 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. Like, I know the Falcons' running back depth chart is very bleak right now, and they kind of need to keep Mike Davis technically because, you bring back Cordell Patterson, and then who's the next running back that you keep there? Ollison, I guess, would be your number 1 running back. Either way, this depth chart is bleak. It's not great, but I would get rid of Mike Davis for sure to save the money and then go out into potentially free agency or more specifically the NFL draft where I would go and draft the future running back, get an actual elite guy. There are a lot in the NFL draft you could go ahead and grab, and maybe, just maybe, you create a running back situation that's the best Matt Ryan has had since Devontae Freeman during the Super Bowl year. Like, it's been a very, very long time. Add breakpen comments down below. Should the Falcons draft a running back in 2022? Type Y for yes or type H for hell yes. Like, I think hell yes. They should 100% draft a running back after cutting Mike Davis. Let me know if you guys agree right now. All right, next player on our list here is a player who they might cut, but they might keep just because of overall depth chart issues. And that's kind of a common theme here on today's video. We'll add Kendall Sheffield to our list coming in at number 4. You save, again, about $2.54 million if you were to cut him pre-June 1st, meaning that they could do it very soon and save some money. The issue that we have right now, though, is the current cornerback depth chart, right? Do you trust Darren Hall to be a starter? I don't think so. However, do you also want to go ahead and draft somebody in the first round of the NFL draft, right? If you're replacing, Kendall Sheffield with Ahmad Gardner, then you're feeling pretty good about getting rid of Kendall Sheffield, right? So you kind of get my point. Sheffield has not been anything special during his career with the Atlanta Falcons. He was very, very bright early on in his career. Like, you think back to his first year in the NFL, I was like, oh man, 4th-round draft pick. This guy could really eventually become a starter, and he played with injuries last season. He was on the football field and just can't seem to get his footing down enough to be a starting cornerback, a starting caliber cornerback opposite of A.J. Terrell. So I think we're going to add him to the list. I think that it is important to note that they probably will keep him. If there's anyone on this list that I think they would keep, I think he definitely could be on there, but you do save some money. If you save some money, you might be able to sign some better players, hence the point of our video. All right, St. Patrick's Day. You guys notice that I am wearing green. You guys need to get some green because the Falcons don't have technically green in their color scheme, being that it's black, white, and red. However, they have some great St. Patrick's Day gear right now on sale at chatsports.com/Falcons gear. You can get the perfect St. Patrick's Day attire to rock on St. Patty's Day. It'll be down below in the description box right now. It'll also be on your screen. Pick up these great deals right now. Again, chatsports.com/Falcons Green is the, I said Falcons gear earlier, I meant Falcons Green is the link that you need. Again, it'll be down below. Click on it. Go ahead and pick up your Falcons official St. Patrick's Day gear right now. All right, next player on our list. This one popped up on a bunch of different websites as I was researching for this video. It is Tyeler Davidson. And Tyeler Davidson would be one of the bigger cap cut savings that you would have if you go ahead and cut him here in the next couple of weeks. So you save about $3.6 million this season if you were to go ahead and let go of him. And you remember back to last season, Atlanta went ahead and gave him a new deal. I guess it was a restructuring of a deal because he took less money, much similar to what Dante Fowler was able to do, with the hope that he would play better and then get a bigger contract this offseason. Didn't really work out very well. I mean, he had a ton of career lows in terms of overall stats. The guy barely got to the quarterback. The guy had very few quarterback, even hurries in general. You look at the stats of Tyeler Davidson, not that great. I think he's 100% is going to go ahead and be let go. Now, much like with Kendall Sheffield, you don't have a lot of defensive linemen to go ahead and, I guess, replace him. However, the expectation is Atlanta's going to add pass rushers this offseason, whether it's number 8 overall in the NFL draft, maybe in the second round as well, maybe in free agency, who knows. But I think Tyeler Davidson is definitely on the list and should be maybe towards the top of potential cut candidates that Atlanta will have this offseason. How important is adding another defensive end this offseason? Like, what do you think? It's pretty darn important to me. Scale 1 to 10, I'm at a 10 out of 10 overall. How important is it to you? Let me know down below right now. Okay, another player on our list here we need to at least acknowledge. However, I think Atlanta will keep this guy, and I would, but he is potentially on the cap cut casualty list. And that is defensive end John Cominsky. Now, you think back to John Cominsky being drafted, he really has shown some promise his first couple of years in the National Football League, but it's not enough, I think, is the issue, and why he made this list on potentially being let go, just go and save some money. The problem is that you don't save a lot of money, right? You save about $1 million, essentially, $955K, $65K, whatever it is. You don't save a ton. And so here's a player, again, that is a position of need, who has shown a little bit of potential during his time in the National Football League, not a ton to be a starter. I think they keep him, but he has to make the list due to the fact that you save a little bit of money there, and his production overall has not been up to what you would hope that it would have been coming out of the league or coming out of college just a couple of years ago. All right, so we've gone through Mike Davis, Kendall Sheffield, Tyeler Davison, John Cominsky. Let's throw the most controversial player on this list, and Grady Jarrett. Now, let me tell you right now, I don't think the Falcons should cut Grady Jarrett. I wouldn't. I think Grady Jarrett is a fantastic defensive lineman, and he's the best defensive lineman that you currently have. However, if you were to cut him, you're saving about $16.5 million, right? $16.5 million. That is a ton of money overall. And the argument for cutting him is very simply due to the fact that his stats aren't that great. Now, I know for defensive tackle, stats aren't everything, and so not everything shows up on a stat sheet, but really, he has been declining over the past couple of years. 17 games, 1 sack, 59 tackles, 12 quarterback hits. Like, those aren't necessarily huge numbers for them to, the amount of money they're going to pay him in the final year of this deal. Now, what they could do is restructure his contract, save some more money, keep him long-term, which I would like a lot better than cutting him, but you have to at least include him on this list of potentially being cut, just due to the fact that you would save so much money doing so. And Atlanta has had very little success towards the rush of the passer over the past couple of seasons. Now, again, I wouldn't do it. I would get Grady Jarrett help on this defensive line. I would draft somebody at number 8 overall who can, take some of the double teams away from Grady Jarrett, because once you do that, he's going to absolutely thrive. Like, he's still a great player, even though he's approaching 30 years old. People are like, oh, he's kind of, had some down years. And it's like, well, yeah, he's had nobody around him. So he has to make the list. We have to include him because of how much you would save, but I don't think that they would cut him. If they do want to get rid of him, trade him instead and get some additional draft pick, right? That's what I would do if I had to get rid of him, but of course I wouldn't. I think you keep him and build around him for sure. Let's finish on this. Would you guys even consider cutting Grady Jarrett? Like, at all? Would you consider this? If you would, type Y down below for yes. If you would not, type N down below for no. Alternative day on our Atlanta Falcons cap cut casualties, potential cut candidate video. It's a mouthful there. Again, will everyone be cut on this list? Probably not, but some might. And I'm going to give you some of the things to look out for here as we head towards the start of the new league year. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at RealThomasMott, and make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Plenty more great content coming up in the next couple of days and weeks. For the Falcons today, I'm Thomas Mott, signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day.